Welcome everybody to Spirit. I'm here with my boy Petey, and we both were talking about Aquaman. What's your take on it, Petey? Was it not one of the best movies of the whole year? Kicking butt. Jason Momoa is off the chain. Amber Heard is just flying off, and most importantly,
What?
Nicole Kidman is high as heck.
Why don't you give your assessment first, and then I'll clean it up and fix it up for you to get you out of just as we've been saying on the show, you trying to get a job at Warner Brothers or Marvel. I'm not sure which one you're trying to get now.
Well, I think this is a DC, so Warner Brothers most likely is who I'm pushing for right now. No, but hey, it was a fantastic movie. The audience was moved. They were clapping. They were having a good time. Jason Momoa was dominating the screen with his screen presence. Is he the classic Aquaman? No, but I think it was a good choice that he did. He's going to definitely bring in people because he's out there working the crowds, and that's what you want, especially after all the disasters DC's had. You know, those disasters which I overlooked, but after looking at this, they're on the right track. They're on the track, baby. They even got ending credits, baby. Ending credits.
Well, all right. So this movie here starts with an overview of the connecting, the Aquaman's parents and how they met. In this scene, there might be a little bit too much CGI in it, but it's a very
No. You're not going to be dissing people in this.
it had a little, I mean, it had some great talents in Nicole Kidman, and I can't recall the actor's name, but he was from Once Were Warriors. He's of course Django Fett, so he's a quality actor. So it was a good start. Some jokey moments, and then we get into this big scene with Aquaman fighting these newfangled pirates. So it was like really cool, a lot of action. Let's not deal with the science. Let's not deal with the science because the science is like him pushing the tanker that quickly. He might not even had to fight any of those guys because they all have the bends, even the people he's trying to save. But it's still very action packed and introducing the history. And I think there's a moment in the bar. That's when the movie started to really pick up for me because it turned, and that's what this movie did. There was some points, I'll get into some of my issues, but it turned a lot of cliches in these movies, which was very interesting to me. Because that moment when he goes into the bar, and then the fact that he's a celebrity, and it's a very cool moment. It could have been just going to the basic thing, and then they had a nice effect, setting this stuff up in the family moment. Because this movie is mainly about a lot about family, like fathers and sons, and this, that, and the other. That's all the way through there. So then you get to the point where they decide they got to figure out this Atlantis thing. And this is very much, I mean, I know you brought up into me recently that a lot of the stuff that Jeff Johns is doing is trying to get the Atlantis people attacking Earth. But that was mainly a Marvel thing. Like Atlantis was this this like wonderful place underwater. In the Marvel universe, it was gone, right? It was destroyed and Submariner was all torn up. And then next thing you know, it comes back, but they're constantly attacking the surface world, and this movie has a lot of that. So this one, but I think there's two similarities. Well, three movie similarities I have to call into, and I'm gonna say I'm sad to say it. It's sort of like this is the pitch for Aquaman.
Don't say it if it's too sad to say it. Don't say it.
First off, there's a big comparison to I'd say Avatar because it has a lot of worlds. They go to different areas. I mean, it's almost like an adventure show because they like travel all these different places, different
Right.
lands. So that's the interesting part. But the movie had a lot of levels that were a lot like the Karate Kid 2. And once after they have the big fight, then we have Aquaman. It's a very amazing scene. Now it's weird because there's so much effects and CGI. There's stuff that's really cool, and then there's stuff that's I think they need to do a little bit more work on it because the red Atlanteans are really cool. The white ones are kind of all right, but their guns seem kind of really fake. But when you looked at the red ones, they were amazing. So then when you got Orm in the what's he called, Ocean Master. Some of that stuff was a little too shiny, But then at the same time, when you had Aquaman tied up with the chains and the people trying to hold him back, there's so many dynamic things, and then they go off into the adventure. So I mean, this is funny because the other problem is that there was some music points that were very cheesy and some lines that were cheesy. But then after you get through that cheese, then they're in Italy and then they're fighting Black Manta, like the full blown Black Manta. And you're like, wow, this is an action
And it looked
scene.
legit. It
Yes,
looked
it was
legit.
a
You gotta
the
say.
fights of all the fights, even the first Ocean Master and Aquaman fight was really good. Even though it was close to Black Panther, it was different and it was wider because Black Panther is in a small area under the waterfall. Like that fight was all over the water. So they had cool things. Nicole Kidman was amazing. All the core, there was a lot of heart in this movie. And if they
Oh yeah.
just didn't have a lot of those cheesy moments and the cheesy music, and then there's a climax that leaves a resolution about getting this trident, and this moment that he has to fight something that no one is beaten, and it's like, okay, so this is gonna be another big fight, and this is another moment. I'm not gonna reveal it, but they turn the cliche, and it shows you that Aquaman might be the most important DC character, at least the most important character that's from Earth, because they key into what this thing, and it kind of, I'm gonna let you in on something. I have a story that was similar of joining of different races or different species, and it's like this one they kind of stole it. They didn't steal it from me, but they used it before I got a chance to. So having Aquaman be that important was very important, especially with his powers being joked about all the time, and him talking to the fish, and him being this hybrid. He's saying he can't do anything, but this showed you being dealing this something got from, who was it, Submariner, dealing with the pressure underwater would give him this endurance that would be as tough as any superhero we've seen before, being able to take shotgun shells and stuff like that. So there's a lot of, I mean, it's tough to say because I don't want to say it's like a 2-star movie. I want to say it's a 2.5 because there's so much cheese, but there's so much cool stuff.
All right, listen.
I'm
I gotta
evenly split.
look. I gotta reverse some of that. So whenever I look at a movie, I look at basically three major factors, and then I have an if factor.
What's that?
Number one is the protagonist or antagonist, whoever the story is about. Do you like this character, or or do you feel something for this character?
Yes.
Protagonist or antagonist? And here he wins hands down. Jason Momoa is the new Aquaman. He's not the old Arthur Curry, but he is the new one, and that's the most important thing. He's mesmerizing in that role. Number two is whether or not the supporting characters around him bring help the story. You know, the characters, and that means both the villains and the people who help him. And in this movie, they both helped him. You know, Manta was off the chain. You see the reason why he's going after Black Panther.
Well,
After
I don't know if I needed a reason. He's just a pirate, and they keep hiring him to take out Aquaman. That's fine enough for me. I
no,
don't
that's
need
fine.
to.
I'm saying, I'm just trying to say, for me, you don't have to have a reason, but the character seems pretty developed and is someone that he can definitely continue with. And the same thing, Ocean Master, you understand the reasoning behind him and why he's doing it too. So pretty fully formed
Why
character.
he wants just to take over the whole planet.
Well, but he has a reason he wants to do that. Look, I have no problem with that.
Because it's world domination. That's what it is.
But the point is that at least their reasons they have a point about both of them. Not legitimate necessarily reasons, but those are they have points. And number three is whether or not there is are you having fun in this movie? Are you enjoying it? And that's what I'm talking about. So those three factors, I give each of them a point, and that's a huge thing. And then you have lastly that it factor. How did others around me react? And others around me react.
Oh my God! Don't use the crowd in the theater.
Crowd gets it's always a big thing with the crowds. So I mean, I've been in movies where I've liked it, and the crowd has just been quiet as hell. But vice versa, this crowd definitely was into the movie and enjoyed it very much. This isn't a $200 million movie in Asia, in China alone. Hasn't even made it to the United States, and it's going to be a huge hit. I can't imagine this not being a number one movie for the Christmas season. But hey, those are reasons I give. And I think, hey, if you're interested in any of those things, Oh, and one more thing. Amber Heard is one of the core characters. Was actually far better than I would have imagined. I
Mm-hmm.
think they've downgraded her. Probably she needs to go to more cons like Jason Momoa does. But she was pretty good in her role. I was surprised, and so was Nicole Kidman. Nicole Kidman, I didn't even know she was in. Didn't realize she was in the movie. She just came in there and practically stole part of it. I said,
Say,
whether you $10 or $15, just go straight to Warner Brothers and give it to them, because that's their money now, baby. Because that did you not enjoy the film?
I'm just saying,
It's
if you want to recommend a movie, you have to be able to say, understand when you have poor music choices and some cheesy lines and some bawdy. Yeah, I don't want to say it, but having the sort of, this is the quote a friend of mine, Anthony Bruner, because this is cool lines. I can't own it. The big budget Tromaville. Like, I don't want this. I don't want to see that, because you could see some of that in the Ragnarok. Some of the Kirby things was kind of like big budget Tromaville.
well, you
So,
know what? I'm an easier grader, unlike you. For me, I don't need to have a discussion of physics and the nuance of molecular science. For
oh
me,
my
it's whether
gosh, oh
I,
my
I,
gosh.
whether or not I enjoyed it and whether I can recommend it to someone. And this is a film I can recommend. I can't. I only watch films that I can recommend. All
I
right,
would
so
just take down some of the shine of the characters, switch some of the music, and then just cut those lines. You got something that's close to where Wonder Woman was.
well, isn't this what we've always been saying? Some of these movies are just way too long. Is it a little long? Yes. There's some places that things can be picked up. I'm not denying that. But those are minuscule compared to all the positives that are in the movie. So I gotta disagree with you right there.
Oh God! All right, so that's what we get. We
So
gone on longer than we said. This battle.
that's so go on, everybody, go out and go run and go to the movie theaters and watch it. Make it number one or number two, but it got to be in the top. Okay,
All
all right,
right.
all right. Well, what's your point?
What?
Go to see it or not? That's what I want to know.
God. It's a
Um,
hard movie to recommend because it has the cheese. People only gonna remember the cheesy things and the cheesy music and the over too much shine in the outfits.
all right. So, question here: of the DC movies, where do you rank this?
Oh God. All right, here we go. We got Superman the movie still up top.
Okay, in the last 5 years.
Batman Begins after that.
In the last five
Then we
years.
have Wonder Woman, but it's way down. Wonder Woman. A big gap between those two and Wonder Woman. Then we have a little way under there is Aquaman. Then we have Green Lantern.
Oh
And
my
what, you want me to push Aquaman under Superman 3? I'll do it. I'll put it under there.
It doesn't bother me. You can put it there.
My father's somewhere, up in the heavens saying, "Don't you say anything about what's the name, Superman 2, because you know that was trash." So I can't bring that up. But
Okay, then. Spin a rack.
out.